Yeah, well, it's hard for men to strike a balance between doing what they need to do in the world and being around enough for their family.
Yeah,
Now
I mean,
what we have-
I struggle with that all the time because I'm always traveling and stuff, and I try to be there as much for my kids. But parental guilt follows you no matter what, and it's just always there, no matter how good a parent or present parent you might be.
So what do you make of his flaws? Like, how would you characterize them? You spent a long time inhabiting his skin. Like, we talked about Reagan as someone who had a long-term vision, who was very committed to it, who was very good at communicating that in a way that was compelling, and who was one of the main players in the devastation of the Soviet Union, right? I would say him, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and the Pope, and maybe you could throw Lech Walesa in there too as an additional contributor. They're not the only people, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
They were major players, man.
It was like that was in concert, all with the Pope and with Lech Walesa. It was all in concert with the United States.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been doing what they did if you hadn't had the support from the United States that they had, and but the flaws with Ray, everybody's flawed. I think like early in his movie career, I don't think he believed in himself as so much when it came. I
think
to
that's why he accepted
being an actor.
More second-rate scripts.
Yeah, I think he was just out to work for a living, and it takes you got to be willing to wait for things. At the same time. I mean,
that must be
that's
a
happened in my
difficult thing
career
to get
too.
right,
It's
man.
like I've done stuff for money, and he's going, I wish I hadn't done that. But,
Right. Yeah, but you need
luckily
money
I've been
too.
able to get through it.
Yeah.
And I also remember like in Iceland when the final meeting with or the meeting with Gorbachev about we were going to like dismantle nuclear weapons, and Gorbachev had said, we'll dismantle all nuclear weapons. Just give up Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Reagan said no.
Yeah, right.
And Star Wars didn't even really exist. And and he'd offered to Gorbachev, we'll share the technology with you so that we both have it. And said to know that. But Reagan said no. And I thought at that time in his presidency, I thought that there's that old codger coming up, that won't bend, and that I didn't think it was finessed the right way. I mean, I wasn't there, but it went down. And then also, I think he delegated a lot, which was kind of a strength in that he was an ad man, as president. He showed us what kind of the presidents, he was the best. Kennedy was also great at it. But as far as representing a president as an ad man, as an image, he was really good at it, but he delegated it a lot. And I think he wasn't maybe like an Iran Contra. He wasn't able to really keep his finger and to really be aware of what was going on. It was delegated, and I don't think he had direct knowledge of it. Once he had said, "Okay, I like these guys," then there's AIDS.
Delegate.
AIDS was another thing that I think he really you can fault him with. He made the wrong decision on AIDS. He really portrayed it from the start as that a punishment from God for the sin of being gay, because it was really recognized as a gay disease, or if you're a drug addict, and he was in that case. I think he was out of touch and missed the boat, on that. But he's still a man of principles. But sometimes people have their faults. Nothing,
of course,
there is no perfect.
Well, it's worse than that in some ways.
There's no perfect crime.